Okay guys and girls, welcome back to FTRL once again for another evening on Gran Turismo Sports. We are here tonight for the GT2 Championship, which has been really exciting so far. And we are here tonight at the Big Willow circuit for the Group 4 race. First of all, we're currently about halfway through qualifying now, so we'll get to that in just a second. Joining me this evening will be a different person to normal. So Pagani, bless him, has done about a 25-mile walk today, so he's a little bit knackered. So we've got a substitute, but a very capable one, in terms of Mr. Lee Cole. Good evening, Lee.
Evening, mate. How are we doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, not bad, all things considered.
Yes. Well, it should be interesting. It's the first time you've commentated on GT Sport with me. I think it's only the second time we've ever done it together. So plenty of things to expect and stepping into the unknown a little bit, mate. But if history's to go by, we should get on all right.
Yeah, definitely. I've enjoyed the first sort of 4 races. Sort of been watching how the boys are getting on. It's been it's a little hard to tell who's really the standout driver so far. We've had some mixed results, so I think maybe this week could be the week we start to finally see who's the ones we need to keep an eye on, and who's going to be the ones to be fighting for the victories.
Well, this is it. I'm just about to pull up the championship if you want to as well. I know, just for viewers' purposes, Lee is actually unable to be in the race lobby at the minute because, unfortunately, on Gran Turismo you can only have 16 people in the lobby, and that includes spectators. And we've got 15 drivers plus me because obviously I'm streaming it. So Lee is purely commentating from a stream perspective. So you're going to have to bear with us. I'll try and catch as much of the action as possible, and Lee will just kind of keep a very keen eye where he can. So just to kind of get that out there and clear. So Lee, I mean, I know you've got access to the Discord and the championships and so on. So can you see the championship standings for GT2?
I don't know if I've got access to that tab actually. I'll have a look.
What I'll do is I'll send it to you as well, and we'll have a quick discussion about it all as we go through. Just while I'm sorting out, do you want to talk to us a little bit about Big Willow? Obviously, it's it's a bit of a Monaco, I want to say, of Gran Turismo, in terms of you either love it or you hate it. I don't think there's any in between with Big Willow at all.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, it's an interesting track. It's quite a high-speed track, but with the run-off the way it is, you make any mistake around here and you are going for a trip to another state. The run-off is unforgiving here, so any mistake, if you run, especially at some of the high-speed corners, that is you then going way off the track. If not getting reset, then you are losing a lot of time, so you need to keep it on the black stuff here, definitely. It's tricky. Last corner is a very tricky one as well. You're coming at it quite quickly. It's a very sort of long right-hander. You've got to wait for the apex as well, so you're kind of on the outside of the circuit, and it's another one of those corners that run a little bit too wide, and you're going off on the outside of the corner, and you're going to lose a lot of time. So. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, I've just been on board with Darkbolt as he's gone pole 1:17.3. Interestingly, it's Darkbolt's first Group 4 race of the season. So the first week at the Red Bull Ring, he unfortunately couldn't connect, and then last week he had internet trouble as well. So it's his first Group 4 race. He's only completed 1 race of the season so far, and he won it. So, and he's just gone pole now by just over half a second. So I'm anticipating him being fairly strong in that. But the trouble is, like you said, with Big Willow, as we saw last season with the what is now known as GT1 League, anything can happen. I mean, Switchback got a podium in that division last season purely because there was a lot of contact, people running off wide, and it's such an unforgiving circuit, like you say. It's yeah, it's definitely one to keep a close eye on tonight. I think, although qualifying is important, I don't think it's as important as it is other tracks. Would you say that's a fair assumption?
Yeah, I think so. I think there is overtaking opportunities here. So yeah, I think it's obviously qualifying will be important. The further forward you start, the people you have to get through. But yeah, you can make moves here. So qualifying's not going to be as key as it is in some other circuits.
Exactly. Well, we've got just over 3 minutes left to qualifying, and currently on board with Andy, who's been dreading this tonight, but he's actually sitting in P4 at the minute. So he actually had a P4 last week at Blue Moon Speedway, so I think he's slowly finding his feet on GT Sport, and that's always good to see. We like Andy a lot, and we hope that he does extremely well. I will come to the stream comments in just a minute. I'm just trying to get everything organised before we crack on tonight. So we will obviously have the usual livery competition. I think a few people have changed their liveries up So if anybody spots anything that they like, then please do post, and we'll have a good look and analysis on it. But yeah, I mean, so far in the championship, you've got Unsafe Release, who's actually leading the way in the Mazda by 3 points overall, and that is from Cornelius, who is in the Nissan. And then, funny enough, it's actually the other Mazda, Ross, who's in P3 of the championship, with Lennon just behind him. So they're your top 4 at the moment. I anticipate Dartbolt being up there as well. Like I've mentioned, the 2 Nexus boys are ones to watch out for. And we actually do have our first wild card of the season being used tonight, and that is by the Toyotas of Co-Andy and Switchback. So whatever happens tonight in these 2 races, just for clarification for those that are watching, these 2 boys will score double points tonight in both races. Every single team has the option to use that over the course of the season. They can only do it once, so even if they have an absolute shocker, it's completely on them. So keep an eye on the Toyotas tonight. It's their chance to get some big points. Now, we do have a car spinning around in the pit lane. That is Unsafe Release. Yeah.
For him. Oh, nice livery he's got there as well. Is he kind of ruining against the pit wall at the moment?
Yeah, well, unfortunately, that's it's a game glitch that you can't get rid of. We had it last week with Deluxe, so let's hope Unsafe Release doesn't have the same problem he did in terms of getting out on track, because for a championship leader, that'll be an absolute disaster.
Indeed. Yeah, it's unfortunate. The game has a couple of glitches. We saw obviously Deluxe didn't get off the line in the race 2 as well, which caused a little bit of carnage. Hopefully, at least if you can get out onto track and Max comes back off from a long way off the final corner, one of his teammates.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so we're going to go on a full lap of Big Willow with Goy Cup. So on the approach down to turn 1, it's a long winding left. You want to stay as tight as possible and run as wide as you can on exit. Then you're going to go up to an uphill, I don't know if you want to call it like a triple right complex, because it kind of is, I suppose. But it's very important to get the right line through there, otherwise you can lose so much time. And then
you've got to come into it fairly tight, drift out a little bit sort of mid corner, and then come back for a late apex.
Yeah, and then you then have like a little double left hand that goes up the hill, and then you reach the peak of the track, which is a really sort of tricky off camber right corner, and then it dips down on the exit. And again, making sure you stay as tight as possible through. You don't want to run too wide, but you don't want to lose too much time either. And then you're going to approach down towards the final couple of corners, which is probably the fastest part of the track. So you're heading right the way down. You're going to absolutely full throttle down. You're going to be looking for around the 100 metre board where you start to brake, but it's a bit difficult as it starts to kind of go on a bit of a curve. And then you want to stop putting your brakes on, and then dipping a tyre down onto the grass. Goy runs a little bit wide, but sensible to do so. And then you want to run down to the start finish and see what time Goy has set. Can he improve on his time? Yes, he does, by just over a tenth. Still stays in P11, just off of Ross in the Mazda in P10. So good showing from Goy, but like I said, qualifying is not particularly too important tonight. I think it's going to be more based on keeping a car on the track, to be honest.
So far, they're getting a bit of airtime coming back on. The Toyotas have starting to use their wildcard effectively. Currently sat P2 and P3, so getting on well with this track. So Zach had good form here last season, like you said, so he's looking confident.
Exactly. So
now they're backing him up quite nicely as well. So
well, he's only 2.5 tenths off of Dartbolt, who's on pole, so he's definitely put himself in a good position, as has Andy. I saw those two working together. Now Cornelius is something to watch out for, as we know. He's just demonstrated a lot of pace this season so far. Lennon as well in the Kit Kat livery, and onto the podium in P6. So he would have been hoping for a bit better. He's currently sat in P7 in the championship. Obviously he's got this deadly rivalry with FTRL Switchback, so at the moment Switchback's got the better of him by just a handful of points. So let's hope for rivalry's sake that those two can turn that around. But the people we're looking out for tonight, as we mentioned, are obviously the 2 Toyotas. Have you got like a wild card pick for this race? Anybody you think is going to have a particularly good result, Lee? I know it's kind of like plucking something out of thin air, but I'm going to put you on the spot.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I think the one race that Dartbolt's been in, I think he won, so he's definitely going to be one to watch out for. He's put it on pole position as well. I think Andy, Andy's P3 there. He's just less than a tenth of his teammates. This track definitely suits the Toyota, so I think Andy could be think we could be in for a good scrap between Dartbolt and the two Toyotas for the win.
Of course, right. Well, I'm going to also go for the two Nexus boys and the Subarus. I think they're going to be on for a good one tonight. So, as we get preparing for lights out, unfortunately, I'm not going to actually see the lights when they do go out, but the guys are holding down the brakes for the full start checks, and it's whoever reacts first. So we are preparing for lights out at Big Willow for round number 5. And away we go. The Toyota's had a horrific start. Dartbolt's flown away. Onto the podium is already round. And he's facing the wrong way already. And unsafe release cannot get off the line. His car is stuck. So the championship leader is not going to be the championship leader come the end of this race. Onto the podium's already gone backwards. Zombie and Robbo are going side by side around the first corner.
Like Deluxe got into the back of onto the podium, turning around, so the Nissan getting a blinding start, and big contact with the back of the Aston, and around he goes.
There we go. Oh, Cornelius getting the elbows out, launching up the inside of Nexus Iceman. Probably not the best of moves there.
A bit of a poor start, Cornelius. He's started 4th, he's down to 7th.
Oh, he's dipped a wheel. Cornelius is off. He's managed to just about save it though. His car's all over the place here. Dartbolt was bolted off. Sorry, I had to. Okay, well, unsafe release has left the room, Lee, so I don't know if you want to try and jump in now, mate.
I'll stay out because I think I want to come back on for the second race. So
yeah, well, I just thought if you can come in for the first race if you want to, because he's not going to be able to race.
Okay, I'm dropping it.
Okay, so Coandy's overtaken switchback for P2, and he's actually off track at the moment. He's going to be rejoining. Can he stay ahead of Lennon, who's going to go on the outside of him? No, he can't. So Lennon's going to sit in between the two Toyotas at the moment. Dartbolt is off. Nexus Cats is already up to P5, and Iceman up to 6th, with Deluxe in that very, very striking pink and green Nissan in P7 and P8 respectively. Zombie still tagging onto the back of this little group in P9, and then you've got Max under pressure from onto the podium, whereas Ross just behind him. Ross has not had the best of starts. That Group 4 Master Retender is not fun, I can tell you that much for free.
Well, Lennon doing a lot to back up his teammate now. He's ahead of Coandy, chasing down Switchback.
Yeah, Deluxe going to be taking a look up the inside of Nexus Iceman. He's going to make this work. No, he lifts off sensibly. He's now...
His teammate now right onto the back of him.
Oh, is it back of him? Any team orders going on here, or are they just going to... Well, I'm just pleased to see Deluxe being able to actually race this evening. He unfortunately had that horrible glitch which unsafe release has suffered this week, and it's prevented him from racing, but good to see Comandy's run wide again. He's doing well. Right, just checking on the YouTube comments, see what's going on and who's joined us for the evening. Make sure you say hello and put in any comments or questions or opinions or absolutely anything at all. As long as it's not abuse, then I'll read it out.
I'm not quite sure what's happened to Ross, but Ross right up the back. He's a long way back as well. So the guy who sat third in the championship definitely had it off somewhere.
There we go.
Into the gravel.
Okay, Grandad Bob's here. Junkie Sports here. Pagani's here. CJ's here as well. Danny's here sending me love hearts. I know he's not sending you love hearts, not me. Okay. Simon's here as well. Blue flag. Okay. Let us know who you boys think is going to be on the podium in this race and in what order. So I don't think it's going to stay as it is. Switchback loves a bottle.
And they're just clipping the dirt on the outside there, but kept it all together. But Nexus Cats is starting to put the magnets on.
He's on the approach and just trying as well.
6th as well, so Cornelius has passed Iceman. It's
vitally important you get those two right in terms of their cars, because they will cry about it if you don't.
Coandy, then Cats has got Coandy into turn 1. The one thing that Toyota does not have is top speed.
No.
He's made it 8, but he's coming back now through the corners.
It's a very underrated car, I think, the Subaru. It was one that me and Pagani looked at for a while. I was quite convinced by it, but Pagani was a little bit unsure. I think he finds it a little bit too stiff, which isn't the first time Pagani said that. But no, overall, I really like the Subaru. I think it's a cracking car. So those two have chosen well.
Circuit outside of turn 2.
Yeah, so I'm just going to go on board with this sort of pack at the back with Robbo, Goy and Max. The corner that they're coming around now is Max goes inside. What a move!
Good move there, yeah.
As you kind of go to that tight left-hander, on this sort of exit, if you put the throttle down too early, you'll just run off onto that gravel and there is no saving that. You're going to be off track for forever. And as these tyres start to wear off for people... Oh, go Andy.
Wide out the final corner. Very wide. I don't think it was a straight bit of track, so he's probably got away with that, but now he's got Cornelius closing down on him. He just needs to just calm down a little bit. Give himself a bit more room at that final corner. I think now you don't want to be out in the dirt because I think that was a very wide line for round 2 as well. Switchback has looked like he's got rid of the advances of Lennon for the time being, and he's now starting to close down on Dark Bolt.
Well, the Toyota's number one strength, I think, is tyre wear, really. It's in second half of the stints especially, or when the tyres start to wear off for some people, the Toyota's kind of just getting started, so they suffer really badly off the line. But yeah, I mean, all jokes aside, I imagine Switchback will have a good result here, providing he doesn't lose his head.
Andy, Katz and Cornelius now nose to tail to nose to tail. Andy having got back up the inside of Katz. Katz has just gone back through. Cornelius is now down the inside as well. Opens the door. A bit of contact. Andy's going on. Now Andy's off. That's not the place to be going off.
No, a bit
deep eclipse the wall.
I think he got a bit of a punt there from Cornelius. I don't think Andy's going to be too impressed with that.
There was room for him. Unfortunately, the natural line is to drift out towards the outside of the corner and side by side. Unfortunately, contact has put him into the gravel, and there's no really much coming back when you're out that far.
Yeah, well, CJ's come in and said, I'm going to go with the top 3 staying as the top 3. So probably a sensible choice, to be fair. Although Lennon's catching up, Switchback is right on the back of Darkbolt now. So I'm actually going to get the
guys in GT1 testament is that the tyre wear on the Lexus is quite bad.
Yes, very true.
Tyres, which around here, especially with these long corners where you're constantly in the wearing that outside tyre, that outside left. I'm starting to see that a little bit already.
Well, it all seems to have calmed down just a fraction at the moment. Everyone's starting to find their places and find a composure. We're approaching the halfway points. We're going to see pit stops soon. Cornelius is pushing Exeter's Cats, and he's gone off. There we go. Oh, and his teammates followed him.
Oh, he's going right off.
Yeah, he's gone right down. Oh, yeah, that's he's caught down the
reset, I think.
Yeah. So he's playing a crazy golf down that path, isn't he? He's off onto the podiums, up into P8, closing down Andy and Cornelius.
I don't know if he intended to go in the pits, but he's in the pits.
He's got in there anyway.
He's just come out just in front of Goy. In fact, Goy goes around the outside of him and onto the dirt.
Switchback putting pressure on. Darkbolt is right behind him now. Now, if you watch when you go on board with Switchback, he frantically flashes those headlights after every turn. He's very much like me. As soon as you try and turn the car, you just flash the headlights uncontrollably.
Yeah, okay. Do quite a lot, and a lot of times people don't even realise they're doing it. I think you're just pressing down a little bit on the joystick.
Oh yes.
You know that you're doing it. And it's a good distraction technique. Whether it works or not, it's a different matter.
Blue flag.
Right on the end of the circuit.
Blue flag's coming, saying he was planning his Joker lap there. The luck.
Good job.
Switchback on the attack. I mean, his tyre wear is pretty much the exact same as Darkbolt's. He's just coping with it a hell of a lot better. If you go on board with him and look at it both, Darkbolt is on the soft tyre as well, interestingly. Switchback on the supers.
Also the podium into the pits.
Yeah, the two Subarus going well.
Very wide line around 2. He's right out on the edge of the circuit. There's not the line I would take. I wouldn't go that wide into the corner. I'm trying to try and hold with the apex a little bit more, but it's making it work so far.
Yeah, I mean, don't rule Lennon out of this race. I know he doesn't look like a favourite at the moment, but he's just keeping them honest, the guys in front. He's waiting to capitalise on any mistakes. And Lennon has warmed to this game pretty well so far. Touch wood. Don't want him to obviously jinx anything, but... Oh, Exercise Man takes a bit of a trip into the gravel. Andy nearly follows him out there. Cornelius is really suffering now. Oh no, soft tyres. The tyre wear around is awful. Oh, there we go. There's Robbo.
Oh, everyone's gone a little too hot.
Onto the podium. He's going to come round. He's going to be able to gain the speed and get past as quickly as possible onto the podium on fresh tyres. So Robbo's not going to make this too hard for him. No, he doesn't.
Well, we get to see a second pit stop from Cotto. Cornelius just kicking up the dust at the final corner again. Stayed on track though.
Yeah, some people are going to keep dropping the car, I think, as time goes through. CJ just taking a break. He's in a nice one. I like that. See, that would make a lot of people cringe, CJ, but not me. It's the sort of thing I thrive on, mate.
A little bit of cringe on FTRL, don't we?
I've used it. God, no one loves it more than you, Lee.
Yes, it's true. Just give the people what they want. Dartbolt looking a little bit ragged now. Like he's just hanging on a bit. Switchback looking tidier, especially coming out of the corner there. You can see Dartbolt using all the track out to the edge while Switchback is so much tighter. That tyre wear, or lack thereof on Toyotas.
Do you know the amount of sexual innuendos I could have referred to in this race already, but I've refrained from doing so. It's I'm just not gonna do it, Lee. I'm not just gonna frantically shout "That's what she said" every single time you make a comment.
Late decision. Enter the pits goes Dartbolt.
And he goes, and Lennon follows him. Lennon 6% less tyre wear. Tyre wear on fuel, sorry. They both come out on the soft tyre, I believe. Lennon's having to put a lot. Oh my God, he's lost a lot of time, is Lennon. Okay, Andy's got through. The Exercise Man is just behind Dartbolt. Now, can he put him under a bit of pressure? Or has Dartbolt going to manage to...
gone off at turn 1, out the pits. Very wide.
And here comes Delac, the two Danish compatriots.
I wonder if there's going to be a little bit of a rivalry between these two.
Yeah, always going around the outside of him, all the way around turn 2. Can he hold it into turn 3? If he can, it's been a lovely move.
Move on. It's got the inside.
Let's just catch trying to follow him out there. Lovely move from Delac. Great racing.
Cat's now trying to go around the outside. Next burner of it.
So who'd have thought 2 weeks ago he was sitting there enjoying his races. Never heard of him before. He drops a message and then 2 weeks later he's racing with us all. Little train forming onto the podium right behind Nexus Cats of Cornelius behind. It's a sandwich I don't think he wants to be involved in.
Right. Max there, very wide at the final corner.
Yeah, Ross is off as well. Not having the best of times as Ross. Always off again.
Can't see for a shower of dust. There he is.
Yeah, the two Mercs currently bringing up the rear of Goy and Max. They've gone from elation to elation to disappointment. Last week they were exceptional at the Blue Moon Speedway. I mean, granted it is just an oval, but they had a great time there. Going to check in with the leaders. Dartbolt 3.5 seconds to switch back, but I imagine that time will start to come down. Lennon and Co-Andy going side by side. Lennon's had a bit of a kick on traction. Just manages to hold it. Oh, he's off again. Andy's putting him all over, all under so much pressure at the minute. Lennon's got a lot of cars running in packs of 2 at the minute. Delac and Nexus Cats, and then you've got Cornelius onto the podium. Then you've got Nexus Iceman and Robbo. Oh no, sorry, that's Max behind him. Just getting lapped, unfortunately, for Max.
I think Dartbolt really made use of that extra lap that the Switchback did on the old tyres.
Well, Switchback has now caught, he's caught up half a second so far. So, like I said, I imagine it will just slowly come down.
Ooh, a bit of a twitch there through one.
Oh, then kicking up some dust.
So on the straight bits, the Lexus pulls away. And then the twisty stuff.
Nexus Cats into the back of Deluxe, and Cornelius is now coming through as well. He's in the GTR sandwich. Cornelius, I imagine, gives Nexus Cats a massive shunt.
Ooh. A bit wide there, just get to a bit of dirt, but got away with it. Cats will be
Deluxe run
Deluxe.
wide. He's going to come back on track where he's onto the podium, going to go straight into the back of him.
Cornelius switches up inside of him, so Cats ends up staying where he was and is now looking at the back of the other Nissan. So the podium gets the overtake on Deluxe done. And the gap in the lead is coming down, it's now 2.3.
Yeah, he's had a crack in that. Now, it's all well and good in catching him, but he's able to manage to get past and pull away. That's the big question. Kawani into the pits. Fresh set of super softs. Essentially what was a free pit stop for Andy, I think, at this point.
Position there either, yeah. We've got a bit of a gap back to fourth, but that's where he was, so. Sensibly
done. Nexus Cats and Cornelius still going at it. Onto the podium is just dropping off of this little back with Nexus Iceman approaching. Deluxe has pitted again, so he's on a fresh set of super softs. He's going to the end. We're into the final 8 laps. 8 minutes, should I say? But I imagine it will be about 7 or 8 laps. We've got a battle for P10 between Robbo and Ross. Ross will be very, very disappointed. Straight after this, we do have the Group 3 race around Tokyo South Outer Loop, which does feature the Death Chicane. So this is going to be plenty of entertainment for everybody watching tonight, I think. But we'll cross onto that race soon. But Switchback at the moment, 2.5 seconds behind. So he's pulled about a second on Dartbolt since the pit stop. So is he just biding his time? Is he trying to conserve the tyres? Lennon runs off track on the final corner. He's going to go into the pits. He just misses the pit wall entry.
Oh. Well, he's got a bit of a gap. Andy's followed him off behind.
He nearly went full Mac cause.
And Cats as well, also taking the rallycross route. The Subaru has a good history of rallying, but not tonight. Try and keep it on black stuff.
Well, closest battle on track at the moment is the battle for P5. There's just a few attempts between Nexus Cats and Cornelius, which has been a bit of a theme for this race. I tip the Subarus to do well, and they're doing okay at the moment. Oh, Andy's dipped a tyre out as he's come up towards the top of the hill, but he's managed to just sort of keep it. But he's going to be looking over his shoulder because those guys are coming, and they are coming fast behind him.
Switchback continues to chip away. And the 10th back to Dartbolt and such.
Yeah, Dartbolt seems to have found a bit of a rhythm now though. But then again, it was the last few minutes of the first stint where Switchback really came into his own, so we should have to wait and see.
3/10 out of him around the final corner. He's just taken 3/10 out of him. So
he tends to lose it though through the first little bit of for the first sort of couple of corners in that long straight. So I think it kind of evens itself out slightly.
Yeah, got Ross off in the background there again. Lennon dipped a Wheeler coming out on the outside of one. Holds it back in though. Cornelius to the outside of Cats into one.
It's all calmed down a little bit now.
So we've got Iceman onto the podium almost side by side. So coming to 2. Iceman's up the inside. Great overtake there from Iceman. Kind of come back at him.
Well, if I know Connor, I mean, he's, to be fair, look at his tyre wear compared to Iceman's. I don't think it's too surprising, to be fair. Now, I don't want to jinx anything, but I'm going to say it anyway. I feel like this battle for P5 is going to end in tears. Nexus Cats and Cornelius. I'm tipping this to end in tears. Once I've probably got a run back on him, is he?
Close. You're on the back of him.
Nexus Cats up the inside of Cornelius into the final corner. Little bit of contact, they're both off.
As you were, 7 seconds back to Iceman now, so they're not under pressure from behind at the moment, but they keep going off the track.
4.5 minutes left of race number 1, so we're looking at 4 laps left.
And the gap is hanging about the same, so that Bolt has kind of halted Switchback's progress at the moment. I'd say it's the end of the stint, and that Toyota will come back at the Lexus as the tyres go off.
Intriguing battle we're going on here between this Nissan and the Subaru. Lexus Cat's going for a bit of a switchback attempt. They're approaching the back marker of Goy Carp. Cornelius using all the track, he's running very, very risky.
You can see the cars that are good on their tyres and the cars that are a bit more heavy on the usage. So that tend to use all the track, other ones in there a little bit harder.
The switchback looked like he pulled the trigger there because it got down to 1.9 and by the end of the straight it was up to 2.3. So I think Dartbolt's saving grace is going to be his straight line speed in that in that Lexus. Because through this section, switchback is so much quicker, Lee.
Yeah. It's going down, so let's see. So going into the section, he's 2 seconds back, so 2.0 going in. A little bit wide there, that's going to cost him.
Cornelius and Nexus Cat's still going. Hammer and tong at each other.
1.9, so he had a bit of a wobble there, so lost himself a bit of time.
Delacro's pitted again.
Nope.
I mean, it's a free pit stop for him, but
did he mean to pit?
That's a good point.
Did he run very wide in the pit lane? Cornelius and Cats still at it. Coming up to Goy now.
Well, it's 1.7 now between those two, the front runners. But it's going to go up to about 2.1 by the end of the straight, I think. Now, if switchback can get into about 1.5, 1.6, that is slipstream range. Now, I know it doesn't mean that much around here, but it's enough to not let him pull away too much. And he's got 2 laps to mount a challenge. Dartbolt is lost a lot of time there. He's really suffering on those tyres. This could be the time now.
This will be it, switchback. Got around max.
You know, lights frantically flashing, switchback, giving it everything. And they're quickly going checking on the cars behind. Lennon's on his own, Andy's on his own. Cornelius and Nexus Cat still going at it. Nexus Iceman on his own. Everybody else is pretty much on their own other than the battle for P5. But I don't think we can leave this battle for the race win now, because I imagine there might be a last lap attempt from switchback here. This might be a little bit too far back for my liking still, but you can never say never.
Okay, a couple of tenths out of into the final corner. Getting definitely within slipstream range. Oh, he's
100%.
Fight in the car. Oh, he's off. Switchback's off out the final corner.
Yeah, pushing too hard. Oh, he's all over the place.
Big wobble. Well, that's decided the race, I think.
Ah, there might have been a fly near him on track. He would have been fuming.
Lennon was off there coming out the final corner. Let's let Andy close up. Still 2.6 seconds there. So
it's a monumental bottle job from FTRL switchback, just to make that abundantly clear.
Well, I guess we're now watching the battle for P5, barring a mistake up ahead.
If we can all get a hashtag giant fanny in the chat for FTRL switchback for him to watch back on his race later on. I mean, I'm even going to get involved in that, so everybody else should too. Dag Giant Fanny. There we go. Okay, battle for P5. Next is Cats and Cornelius. I still think this is going to end in tears.
Cornelius is a little wide.
How is it running?
Inside.
Yeah, Dark Bolt's coming around the final corner in just a second. But I'm not going to leave this battle between these two for P5.
Ball gets run the final corner, okay. Yep, he's on for a victory.
There we go, Dark Bolt weaving down straight, yep. 2 wins from 2.
Right with Lennon. Another lap, and I think he might have had him. Lennon's going to hang on. So first and third for Lexus, second and fourth for Toyota.
Well, a good play of the wild card so far for the Toyotas. Cornelius and Nexus
Cats.
Cats.
Out the final corner.
Oh, he's going to get him. Oh, he's got him. Nexus
Great
Cats.
run by the Cats there at the final corner.
Nicely done. Very well driven by Nexus Cats. He's really impressed me this season. I've said it time and time again. Although he makes me want to put my head in a blender sometimes, he's done an incredible job this season, Nexus Cats. Iceman's come home in P7, so the two Subarus have finished P5 and P7. Delac on debut's come home in P9. Onto the podium is finished. We're onto the podium finishes in GT Sport, I think, around the P7, P8 mark. Robbo come around as the last car in P10, and then Ross in P11, Zombie in P12, and then just missing out on the points is the two Mercedes of Goy Carp and Max. Not the easiest track for these guys. Max doing some donuts, I think.
The pirouette out the final corner.
Yeah, I mean, he just messaged saying sorry, guys. Yes, Pagani. Oh yeah, good lad. Don't forget the race replays because I'll have to get the photos. Nicely done. Unless you want to save it as well, Lee, just to be on the safe side.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to have a 5 to 10 minute break now before race number 2, or the final race of the evening, gets underway, and that'll be at Tokyo South Outer Loop. We'll go through that in just a moment, but just for now we're going to save this race replay and the race results. There we go, all sorted. So I'm just going to let switchback know. Oh, I've forgotten how to spell. Ah, for God's sake.
Alright, I'm going to jump out the room just to see if Unsafe Phillies can get back in again.
Cool.
He shouldn't have juice.
Well, there we go. So Dartbolt makes a 2 from 2. You can't help but think he would be a championship contender, providing that he manages to keep his internet in check. He's had a lot of problem with BT over the last few weeks.
Yeah, so BT's one of those you would think would be quite good on their internet, but I think a lot of people are struggling with internet. I think it's just the number of people who are now working from home. I think it's just putting a bit of a strain on bandwidth, and people struggling with it.
Absolutely. Well, Tokyo should be pretty entertaining. So, I mean, it's not. A lot of people don't like this track that's coming up now. I mean, the interesting part about it, for those that are going to be watching, the pit lane is halfway around the circuit. It's not on the start-finish straight, so that's going to throw people off a little bit. It wouldn't surprise me if a few people get the fuel wrong. But yeah, and obviously the guys have to do the mandatory 2-stop in this, but they have to use all 3 tyre compounds, so soft, super softs, and mediums. So yeah, I mean, typically the Tokyo tracks aren't bad at all for tyre wear, so I imagine that we're probably going to see quite short stints on the mediums, and everyone's just going to try and go for super softs and softs. Yeah, well, we'll get into Tokyo in just a second when the lobby changes over.
So you can get into a good rhythm with that final chicane. It shouldn't be too problematic, but it is how much curb you take can influence how well you get through that corner, because if you take too much, it really kicks the car up and you very easily end up in a wall.
Yeah.
It's not somewhere you want to be going side by side through either.
Absolutely.
So my advice to the boys would be, if you're not in front of the guy, dropping behind them.
Well, this is it. I mean, looking at the track map now, for those that are watching, you've got sort of quite long straight into the first little few corners, and you've got to run down to the very, very tight hairpin, which you can see at the top there. That's pretty much where the pit lane is. And then you exit, you've got a monumental straight down, and you've got a sort of an uphill right that dips down, and then you've got the little death chicane you'll be able to see on my cursor around there. It's a little death chicane where the curbs are deadly, so we're going to see a lot of people probably bouncing all over the place or spinning. But other than that, it's not really too difficult to track. You've just got to be switched on for those few moments where it counts. The Lexus, the Nissan, the cars with the better straight line speed will definitely benefit from the straights, but they will need to be on top of their game through the crucial parts of the circuit. So it's a lovely night race, or dusk as some people might call it, coming up for you all, but it should be quite a spectacle.
Yeah, I mean, I think the first sort of section is kind of fast-flowing corners, so it's kind of good. You need to get a good rhythm to sort of keep the speed up through there. Then you obviously got the run down to the hairpins. That's probably one of the first overtaking opportunities. Then you've got the section coming up through the tunnel, which again is probably going to benefit the cars like Nissan, which obviously all that speed again. So you're coming through that long right-hander and then into the final chicane. So it's a fairly straightforward track, but it's not without its difficulties. Staying out the wall is going to be key here, especially in that first section there, because you can lose a lot of time and momentum.
Very much so. I'm just, like Junkie Sport just popped in the chat, very much looking to the chicane. So should be good. Very much looking forward to it. We're going to see a lot of wall banging, and we might see a few squeezes into the wall. It could be a little bit of a bump fest, this one, a few little bumps and bangs, especially because there's so many straight slipstreams. Is going to be so important. Try and save as much fuel as possible around these tracks, so you have to really limit your pit stops. Cool, so we're just letting everything settle down for the next few minutes before we get underway for the second and final race of the evening. And hopefully we get Unsafe Release joining us in this one. Bear with me a second, everybody. I'm not being ignorant. I am purely just sorting out a couple of bits and pieces before we get underway tonight, just so everything's all good to go.
Got our second AlphaTauri livery of the night. As comms, out of the cars lined up on the grid, which car would you prefer to drive?
Well,
I mean, are we excluding the ones that we're currently in?
Yeah.
Or are we going to open up to everything across the whole? Because obviously I know what your answer will be, and you'll know what my answer is going to be.
Yeah, no, I think we should steer away from the obvious.
Okay, if I was to go with any other car on the grid, I do like the Lexus. I've done a lot of running in the Lexus in the past. The Group 3 cars are very solid all-rounder. The Group 4 obviously is, you can see there, it's obviously won the first race. It is quick in a straight line. It's not great on tyres and a little bit understeery, but I think it makes up with that with the straight line speed. So Lexus is He's probably would be my other choice if I wasn't to pick GTR.
Oh, as we see unsafe release and Nexus Cats are both had a wobble going for a death chicane. Like I said, it's going to be so crucial, this one.
Yeah, Cornelius went in there as well, I think. Three of them piling in there, so keep an eye on that. The car has gone very deep at the hairpin, by the look at it.
Well, yeah, I mean, to be fair, I've driven my Nexus would be the car of choice. No, actually, I want to lie, the Subaru. Like I said, I like that Subaru and I've not really driven it, so it would probably be my choice.
Yeah, so obviously my first season FTRL GT Sport was with the Subaru, myself and FTRL Panda. It's a fairly good car. I got me a podium in my second race at Alsace.
I remember that. I thought you was going to win.
I was battling for the lead with Mr. Bo Jones, and I think I led for a lot of it early on. Got through the pack very quickly, and then pulled out a bit of a gap. Then Joe sort of caught me at the end of the first stint, so I undercut him, and then a couple of mistakes kind of let him and Frome through, and then I realised I was probably short on fuel, so I had to do a bit of fuel saving and kind of dropped away. So it's got potential. It's a nice car to drive.
Yeah, well, it's I'm just very, very intrigued by what's going to happen tonight, especially this. I'm just hoping there's not going to be too much chaos, because in terms of the start-finish straight, or the start-finish line, should I say, you've got not the biggest run down to turn one. Now, you've got the cars like the Toyotas, which are going to fall to the back, but you're going to get a lot of people rushing towards this first corner.
Toyotas are starting at the back anyway, so there shouldn't be too much of an issue.
No, but I just in general, it's quite, because the first couple of corners, just as you can see, Cornelius going through it now, it's very, very windy, and it's unless you've got a hell of a lot of trust in the cars around you, it's pretty difficult to go through there committed, knowing that you're not going to end up in a wall or backwards or something, because it's such an unforgiving little complex of corners. The first couple of laps, once that's out of the way, it should be alright, especially with this hairpin as well. It's such a tight hairpin. One person outbrakes themselves like Blue Flag does regularly, it will no, on a serious note, it's very, very difficult. Very, very difficult.
Yeah, very much. I mean, that first, they'll have to kind of sort themselves out into line of stern quite quickly for those first couple of corners, because it's not really a section you can go side by side through. You can do, but you need to give a lot of room, and you're going to lose a lot of speed, obviously trying to keep each other out the walls. So yeah, it's going to be tricky, but people clipping the wall, it will open up opportunities to overtake as well.
Definitely will. Definitely will.
It was on the manufacturers, FIA manufacturers for its series not too long ago. And it's a circuit that definitely suits the Nissan, so I expect Cornelius to go well. Dark Ball looks quicker, I think he'll probably be there or thereabouts as well. We shall see.
I imagine, I mean, if anybody wants to brave guessing who's going to be on the podium in this race in what order, then be my guest. With I'm gonna, before lights out, I'm gonna go for a I'm gonna go with a Cornelius win. I'm gonna say Dark Bolt in second, and I'm torn between Lennon, unsafe release for P3. I'm going to go with Lennon.
Probably a safe shout, to be honest. That's probably I would definitely have the top two the same way around. It'd be interesting to see those two battle. So Cornelius looks very good in the Group 3 cars. I think those will be the top two, and I expect Lennon on safe release. Possibly Ross may also be battling for that final place.
Yeah, I was considering Ross. That's what I was hesitating on. Pagani's also coming with Ross as well, so I mean, he's going to be starting fairly high up. But again, we know Ross's racing etiquette is superb, so let's hope people return the favour to him. Onto the podium, struggling by the looks of things. He's on the medium tyre starting on, so I think he might just do the 1 lap or 1 or 2 laps and then come in and just do the rest of it. So anyway, we are 10 seconds to lights out. Lee, if I do jump in and cut in at any stage, it's just because I'm a few seconds ahead, because obviously you're not in the stream now, so apologies for that. Anybody that thinks I'm talking over Lee, I don't intend to. But we're going to be starting off with unsafe release on pole. We're going to have Max in P2, Goykarp in P3, and then we've got Zombie, Ross, Robbo, Deluxe onto the podium, Iceman, Cornelius, Cat, Andy, Lennon, Switchback and Darkbolt is your grid. We've got 40 minutes.
You also have to keep an eye on the car FTRL Switchback in this one. Apparently the new livery is quite nice.
We have got the worst camera angle known to mankind for the start of a race. But it's lights out, away we go. Looks like everybody's got away fairly clean. Unsafe release has pulled off. Goykarp's had a cracking start. There's a little bit of bumping in the background, not so sure who that was. I think it was Nexus Cats. Goykarp down the inside of unsafe release at turn 1. A little bit of banging as Ross is into the wall. Lennon slammed into the wall as well. Zombies had a pretty good start. Ross has not enjoyed the best start. Max down in P4. A little bit of bumping as we approach. Yeah, as we approach down towards the hairpin for the first time. Zombie looks to the inside of Goykarp. Is going to take a look. Who's going to be late on the brakes?
Oh, Zombie to the back of Goy.
Yeah, all Deluxe nearly sideways. People getting their elbows out now. Now the straight line speed of this Mercedes, I imagine Goykarp's going to probably take the race lead coming down here, or at least be close to it. There's a few cars bouncing off the walls in the background. That's Ross, Deluxe and Max going 3 wide. Oh, they're all bumping off the walls. It's going everywhere. Goykarp.
Wide. The tunnel, Jesus.
Zombies looking very, very defensive from Robbo in the battle for P3 as they approach down towards the death chicane for the first time. Goykarp goes fairly clean through. Robbo's through. Zombies through. Who's that? That's Darkbolt. It's clattered into the wall. Max has followed him through as well. God, I'm getting some shocking camera angles here to try and give you as accurate as I possibly can. Nexus Cats, Cornelius and Lennon are right down the back. Obviously been some early contact. Oh, Goykarp and Robbo.
As well, he's down the back.
Robbo around the outside of Goy at turn 1. Goy manages to hold him off. There's a little pack of cars here for P2. That's Deluxe and Zombie, who have both scraped the wall. Ross has followed in. Darkbolt's coming through now as well.
Deluxe was at the inside of Zombie. Zombie's in the wall.
Oh, Robbo's lunged into Goykarp and hit him off into the wall. 4 from Robbo there. I mean, it's inevitable that corner, unfortunately, but unsafe release has a 3-second gap.
Cornelius needs to get his motor running if he wants to fulfill our podium predictions. A minute. Darkbolt coming through. He's going to be the one to watch, I think.
Yeah, Robbo's currently in P2. Goykarp's taking a look down the inside of him. The train of cars behind Goy into the death chicane. Oh, is a spinner. That's Ross. Oh, the 2 teammates, the Aston Martins have spun. Oh, it's all kicking off. Andy's backwards.
He did say he'd be spinning. He posted a GIF earlier
God,
saying him spinning it.
So much chaos. Switchback is in P9. But onto the podium, he's managed to get up into P6. He spun his teammate earlier on.
Deluxe comes through into 3rd.
Unsafe release has left the room.
Oh no.
So it's your time to jump back in, Mr. Lee. Because he's not going to be able to get back in his car, unfortunately. So that means that that Deluxe has inherited the race lead. Robbo's in P2, Goykarp in P3, Nexus Iceman in P4, onto the podium in P5, under pressure from Ross and Darkbolt in 6th and 7th. Switchback is following them down. Nexus Cats with a big lunge. Oh, there's minimal contact. That's Lennon and Max. Having a little bit of afters at the hairpin there, but Lennon's managed to get through. Now Lennon needs to catch up if he can onto this train and get the slipstream to pull him along. But yes, lap 3, Goy Karp's putting Robbo under some pressure in the battle for P2. Goy looks to the inside, is he going to take a look? Just leaves the car there. Next to Iceman going well. Robbo's run extremely wide. Iceman down the inside of Goy Karp going into the death chicane. Is this a sensible thing to do? It's probably not. But Goy holds his nerve. Haven't said that for a while.
That was Ross. Got deep into the chicane. He's lost about 3 places.
This massive train of cars behind the bus that is onto the podium. Dartbolt looking to the outside of him as they approach down to turn 1. Lovely move from Dartbolt.
It's gone on a bit further ahead. You've got Iceman. We go up side by side. They're going quite slowly, so I think they may have both been in the wall. Oh, Iceman in the wall again. 3 or 4 cars in the wall there. Sparks kick up. And Dartbolt onto the tail of the...
Goy down the inside of Dartbolt. He's running him wide.
Big kick of oversteer on the exit.
Yeah, it was. It was a good attempt by Goy there to hold his position, but I mean, Lexus versus Mazda, and Mazda Mercedes in a straight line. Intriguing little battle that. There's a huge gaggle of cars behind.
Got into the podium. A bit of a gap. And you've got Cat Switchback Cornelius. We're close together, Ross just behind them. And Lennon just watching at the moment. Cornelius is going to be eager to get through and start using that Nissan's pace, because I know, from my experience, it's a very good car around here. Oh, Boss is.
Oh, Goy Karp!
Oh,
there's somebody else gone as well. Not too sure who it was.
Goy spun.
Max was there as well.
Switchback.
I think it might be. I can't actually see Switchback for some reason. Probably not the worst thing in the world, but...
Look at Ben Shepherd's beautiful face inside of his car.
Yeah. He's got a... he's got FaceTime with Ben. Can't join us for the rest of this race. Onto the podium's clattered into the wall. Turn 3. Cornelius is there as well. Can try around the outside. Probably not the most sensible thing to do.
Lennon with the opportunistic pass that will kind of puts him to the wall, I think, there. And here comes Ross on Cornelius.
There we go. Oh, Ross down the inside as well. Cornelius going to be getting the elbows out soon, I think. Oh, Leonard, massive kick. Oh, it's all going off. I'm going to quickly check in with the race leaders. Deluxe has nearly a 7-second lead. Robbo's in P2 still, Nexus Iceman still on his tail in slipstream range. And then the gaggle of cars starts to crack on with Dartbolt in 4th, Nexus Cats in P5, so the 2 Subarus currently sitting in 3rd and 5th. Onto the podium still leads this massive train behind him.
I thought Nissan was going to win this one, but they went the other way around, so they look doing very well at the moment. He'll drop the whole onto P2, but Iceman is now with him. We're going to see what Robbo's made of now. That's Hyundai. Didn't get the best reviews last season from its pilots.
Oh, Goy's head's gone into the chicane.
Oh, Iceman up the inside of Robbo, puts him into the wall. Not the cleanest of overtakes, but he gets it done.
Yeah, I imagine we'll have probably a couple of things to look at after this race, but unfortunately for the drivers, for now we can't do too much about it. They need to just grit and bear it and carry on with their races. Like I said, tracks like these are very unforgiving. Now they need to be careful of Dartbolt because he is looking very, very racy in that very sort of plain but also quite nice Oreo car behind I must admit, I'm a bit of a fan of that. It is very, very plain and basic, but something strikes.
That works.
Yeah.
It doesn't always have to be lathered in sponsors. Got Cornelius and onto the podium side by side, coming into the tunnel.
There's Lennon up behind as well.
Oh, into the wall they go again. Because Cornelius came down the inside of Lennon and onto the podium, but side by side through the next section.
Well, I'm calling fireworks here.
There was a touch. Ghosting from the Aston.
It's an accident waiting to happen. I think all of this switchbacks now join the party as well.
Cornelius, I think, is eager to get through. See the guys ahead of him getting away. He's up the inside. This will be the Nissan Power. And he'll just drive past him. There he goes. There's a bit of a gap now ahead of him. Oh, Connor coming straight back at him. Goes deep. And switches back. Ross is in the wall. Yeah, that's got the overtake done now.
And now he's got Lennon all over the back of him. Still just under 30 minutes left of the race. Oh, onto the podium, smashes into the wall.
Into the outside. He's going to put the squeeze on him. Inside the hairpin.
Imagine Lennon's going to try and go the long way around onto the podium here. Now, Lennon does tend to kick on a...
Oh! This car getting its groove on.
We'll go and check in up front. Dartbolt's got past Nexus Cats and is just a slight gap. Deluxe is 9 seconds clear at the moment. He has started on the super soft tyre, as has Nexus Iceman. Dartbolt is on the mediums.
So Robert was pitted. He's the first one to stop. Iceman to the wall.
I've just checked in with the stream comments, and there's an interesting one from my granddad in there, and it says, Aaron, Nan wants to know why you keep talking about her, and he's put in brackets, giant fanny. For God's sake. Now, this is the sort of time where I'm itching to say something smug, rude and probably quite vulgar, but I will not do that this evening. I'm going to try my best to refrain, although I know he's sitting there at the table pissing himself laughing, probably. Grandad, you are a bad influence on me.
Keep up the good work, Bob. Well done. Well, the looking very comfortable out front on his own. His car is fairly clean of scuff marks compared to a lot of the guys behind him. He's very deep through the hairpin. Bolt getting ever closer. Just outside of slipstream.
Onto the podium, and Lennon. Switchbacks dive into the pits behind.
Now Cornelius, having been released from behind Connor, has quickly homed in on the back of Cats. And he's within slipstream range, half a second back. So now he's got clear, he's starting to come through. Now he's going to the outside of the Subaru. He's just driven around him on power.
Nice move.
Good now.
He's doing well on his fuel though, Nexus Cats. Compared to some of those, Cornelius doing okay as well. Oh dear.
That's going back at him.
Oh my god, that was brave.
So they put a very defensive into the chicane after they put the wall.
It's been a cracking race so far, nice and intriguing. I mean, Nexus Iceman is just keeping, Deluxe is keeping the gap to 9 seconds. Now, I'm not saying that that's where he's going to finish, but he's putting himself in the best possible position to finish there by having such a good first stint.
So Dartbolt 10.7 seconds back. He's probably the one we need to watch. Definitely if Iceman's going to make them into the wall, he goes though as well, so costing himself time. Katz has got back ahead of Cornelius. So there's a bit of a change there through the first couple of corners.
Oh, Dartbolt. Dived off into the pits. Yeah, Iceman as well. Now, what tyres are they both going to go on here? They're both going to fill up the tanks. We'll keep an eye on that in just a second. Ross carries on, Cornelius carries on, but the rest of the gaggle of cars behind have all dived into the pits.
The Iceman's used the most fuel though, down to 9 litres. Dart Bolt on 13, Cat's on 17.
Onto the podium was on 7.
Onto the mediums, Bolt onto the soft. And they've come out nose to tail. And alongside Max Def, who's going to sweep past them. Dart Bolt usually looking for the slipstream of Max to get around the Subaru. Ooh, banging there as they go through the...
Yeah, so what I've noticed, Lee, is that Switchback was on the back of the train of Connor, of onto the podium, Lennon and Cornelius, and through pitting a lap earlier, he's managed to pull about nearly 3 seconds onto the podium. So he's definitely got a good undercut on him there. As onto the podium goes past Goy Carp. Sorry, past Co-Andy. He's now chasing down Goy Carp in P11. Switch back on the back of Robbo. Going to try and go around the outside of the final corner. Oh, Robbo puts him in the wall.
Robbo was struggling for the grit race leader in the pits.
So, yeah, Delac in from the Super Softs.
Cornelius has been released as well. Looks like he's coming into the pits as well. Oh, he's going into the wall. Oh, there's a big hit on the wall. He's caught an edge.
That's lost him a lot of time. Delac is in, so Ross has carried on for what I assume will be his final lap on the medium tyres. Delac has come out in P2, just under 6 seconds behind Ross, and he has about 8 seconds to Darkbolt behind. So Darkbolt has gained about 1.5 seconds on him.
Been released, he's made light work of Iceman. 1.5 seconds into him. Max behind them.
Lennon and Nexus Cats are going side by side through the tunnel. Shows it can be done. Lexus versus Subaru.
You can see how much it's cost Cornelius as well. Now he's back battling with Robbo. There's a bump in there. Still bumping.
Yeah, Switchback has managed to get past Robbo.
Cornelius gets the overtake done, so he's now on the back of the...
So Switchback rides that curve, Robbo as well. Cornelius was very, very close to that wall on exit.
Right, as long as you just heard the needle, it's fine. He's got a good run around the final corner.
Yeah, Goy Carp and Zombie in a battle for P12, final point scoring position.
Speed of the Nissan, I think he just clipped the back of the Toyota there, which has stalled his progress. We'll wait for a better opportunity. He's looking quick again.
Yeah, Ross does dive into the pits. I thought it was inevitable. Switchback goes purple in the first sector. But Cornelius is surely going to be taking a look at him now.
Down the inside he goes.
Down the inside.
There's Max as well. Oh, Max has
just stopped.
Changed his mind about pitting. I think he's missed the pit lane. There he goes there, he found it. There we go.
Good job from Max.
On a track map.
Nexus Cat's trying to fend off from Cornelius. But Switchback is there as well.
Cornelius just drives past him. Switchback as well. The inside. It's 2 places back. Cats taking the pain on those medium tyres.
Cats has held that quite nicely around the outside there though. This could end badly. Oh dear.
They sort themselves out. Switchback gets the position now.
Nicely done. They put a bit of trust in each other there, which was good.
Look how much quicker Cornelius has got away.
Yeah, Dartbolt's got the gap down to 6.6, so he's absolutely flying at the moment. Deluxe is going to be finishing the race on the mediums as well, so you've got to say at this stage of the race Dartbolt does probably look favourite to go on and win, judging by how much he's catching Deluxe.
Nice. Oh, Lennon into the wall hard. Cornelius into the wall hard as well. Nice one now. He's starting to get caught by the 2 behind him. Both on the softs, he's on the mediums. Cornelius just homing in on the back of Lennon already as well. He's not clear, but he is 9 seconds behind Dark Bolt, so you say Dark Bolt is probably the favourite of this stage.
So the podium has dropped off, now he's down in P9. He will be on the supers though to end the race. Hopefully he should maybe be able to put a little bit of time back then, but the train is kind of spreading itself out a bit now. The closest battle we've got on track is the one for P3, which is next to Iceman, Lennon and Cornelius.
Do you see how quickly the soft tyres brought these two onto the back of Iceman? We want to get the next 5 minutes or so out of the way so we can get onto a softer compounded tyre. But these two will be on the super soft at the end. Lennon gets the switch at the inside. Oh, it's going to go 3 wide.
Is there as well.
Man just drives past them. As the he's going to
Always battered into the wall.
And he's going to get away with it. He does, just about.
Switchback is coming though. Lennon's very, very close to Cornelius now on the approach to the hairpin. Is he going to take a look? No, he's just going to sit behind and wait for the straight, I think. Needs a good exit. Hits the back of Cornelius, which is not going to help. Massive silent traction there from Lennon.
They look like he's just about sorted that gap out now. He's got it back up to 7 seconds. He's doing what he can to keep that gap.
Yeah, they're on the same tyre. I mean, it's his debut week this week. If he can end up with a podium or even a race win at this stage, he's going to be absolutely delighted with that. I mean, he's got 14.5 seconds to this battle for third, and these guys scrapping is going to massively do him a lot of favours.
Interesting now that Cornelius has got clear track. What can he do? He's still got a bit of pressure behind.
I feel like Lennon will probably just follow him for a while.
Skims off the wall, kicks off some sparks. I don't think we're slowing down too much, but you can see how quick that Nissan is in a straight line.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Drops the Lexus. So Cornelius has got clear track, he's got 7 seconds.
Yeah, there's not too much else going on.
There was a good scrap going on further back earlier on. They've spread out a little bit now. Yeah, it's like they've spread out a little bit. Zombie. Co-Andy were a bit close together, but I think they've spread out a little bit now. I do like Andy's Martini livery, that's quite nice as well.
Yeah, it's very nice. Lennon has had a really poor run out of the hairpin. He went very, very deep into it. And now he's got an exercise band all over the back of him. So he's brought himself on unnecessary pressure, which is probably going to allow Cornelius to pull away now.
Indeed, so we've got about just under 7 seconds between first and second. And the same again between second and third. It's going to be interesting. So obviously we know Deluxe going on to the medium tyre to finish the race. Will he be able to back his teammate into Dark Bolt, should Dark Bolt get there? And Cornelius is now bringing that gap down. Deluxe also just inching up on Deluxe. Deluxe will want to stay on these tyres as long as he can do. Lennon has managed to open the gap up to Iceman again, so I think Iceman's had a bit of a moment somewhere. He's dropped back to 1.3.
Yeah, apologies for that. I just had a little bit of a random coughing fit for no reason.
So switch back, keeping Iceman honest as well.
Yeah, well, the gap down to lead is now down to 6 seconds, so it's coming down, but not coming down by loads. So that's definitely some confidence that Deluxe has got to take from that. However, he does have another 16 minutes of trying to stay as consistent as possible to try and hold on to this race win, or at least the lead of the race. I feel like he should probably be okay for second, but then again Cornelius has caught up by 1.5 seconds since he's pulled away. But is it too little too late?
Well, Ross and Cats are fairly close together. Cats just had a bit of a wobble. He's lost a little bit of time. Ross now making his soft tyres work while Cats is on the mediums. This Robbo pits from P10. The mediums. He's the first one to go on soft to the end.
Yeah, no Pagani, I'm not contagious. It's purely just from doing commentary with what turned out to be a dry mouth. Needed some water. Bit of lubrication, Pagani. Leave it. Okay. Right, next is Iceman is still staying with Lennon and switch back. I mean, it just seems to just be mirroring their pace in front. He's not got that cutting edge at the moment to be able to reclose that gap. Next is Iceman is on the mediums and Lennon's on the softs. However, they are starting to wear now.
Gap first to second down to 5.7. Dartbolt just went purple in the first sector as well, so he's getting the magnets on.
Yeah, I mean, interestingly, like I said, Dartbolt's going to be ending the race on super softs and Deluxe is going to be on mediums. However, there's a huge difference in fuel between those guys. Almost a quarter of a tank difference.
It's not hopped a lot, I'll open the gap up a little bit more. Oh, he's had a big moment over the curbs there though, Dartbolt. Cost him a bit of time.
Yeah, lost a few tenths. Iceman and Lennon staying close as well. Switch back to him.
With a big kick.
Yeah, Ross next is Cats. All getting quite close now. Onto the podiums a few seconds back, so he's looking like he's nailed on for position there unless he can end the race strong. There is a few contrasting strategies in this race though, so don't be too surprised. I mean, you've got Andy and Zombie very, very close on the exit of the tunnel. He's only going to take a look down the inside. He's going to stay there. What can Andy do? Is he going to take a look into the depth chicane and think he might be? Oh, it's a bit of a kick. And Zombie has to take evasive action there as they carry on. That might be looked at afterwards, I'm not too sure.
Lennon pits from P4. Lennon's the first to blink.
Next as Cats jumped in as well there. Lennon had no fuel left at all, so he's going to have to put a lot in now. However, I think he's going to be ending on supers, I think.
I believe so.
Other than that, it's pretty...
He has just topped the tank as well. Cats onto the soft type.
Filled the car all the way up. I wonder if it is... Yeah, it's interesting. So is Cats. I don't know if that was needed, but...
I don't think so, but we shall see.
Well, Lennon's on the super soft, next is Cats on the soft. Yeah.
They went longer than that. Note the tyre wear difference between Deluxe and Dartbolt. Dartbolt's a fair bit more wear on the fronts.
Yeah.
Well,
Dartbolt's, yeah, he's going to have to be in it. Deluxe, is he going to dive in?
Carrying on. Obviously with the mediums to come, he's going to want to carry on. In fact, Dartbolt is coming in. The P2 pits.
Yeah, no, Deluxe is going to have to pull the trigger here, I think. By the time he gets round, it's probably going to be about 10 minutes left of the race. So 10 minutes on a set of medium tyres isn't the end of the world. Now Cornelius is going to have to come in fairly soon.
And pits, switchback pits.
Dartbolt's coming out 84% fuel onto the podiums in as well. So is Iceman. Now Lennon's. Oh, he's coming out.
28 seconds between first and fourth. Dartbolt and Willow. Now He's on the super soft tyres as well, he's going to be flying.
Deluxe, surely. I'm going to stay on board with him here, but I'm sure he's going to have to jump in.
I think he's a lot better on his tyres than his teammate. A lot more wear on Cornelius' front tyres. He's been pushing as he's had to battle through the pack a little bit harder. Dartbolt's got 4 seconds to Ross. I don't think he's going to come across him in traffic. How much longer Ross stays out. He's starting to take that gap down. He's taking about a second out of the lead.
Yeah, Deluxe carried on.
Deluxe want to stay on those tyres as long as he can do, but he needs to get off them soon.
Well, he's just entered into the red on his fuel, so he's going to have to be at the end of this lap, surely. Cornelius is in.
Supers. Ross goes through.
Yeah, Dartbolt round the final corner.
Where does Cornelius come out relative?
To Lennon and Switchback. Yes, the Switchback actually jumped Lennon through all this as well. So all of that fuel that Lennon's put in has really cost him here. Cornelius is coming out of the pits now. Switchback is coming around the corner. So Cornelius is in what I would anticipate to be... I mean, hold on. Has Ross got a pit? Well, I mean, he'd have to for fuel.
Yeah, he'll have to pit.
But Ross isn't in an awful position here. Considering the size of that gap that's behind, yeah.
There's a big slide through the chicane, though.
He's amazing on his tyres, is Ross. Okay, so we have a battle. Deluxe surely going to have to pit. Surely.
Got no fuel, so if he doesn't go this lap, he's going to run out. That gap is coming down to Dartbolt. He's lost 3 seconds on this lap. So he's lost 3 seconds. Dartbolt's made 3 seconds on him.
Deluxe is in 2% fuel. We'll be looking at just over half a tank of fuel, I think.
Dartbolt's coming down the ramp now. There's the hairpin.
Well, even if Deluxe does get out ahead, he's going to have a hell of a job on his hands. There he goes.
Lots pits. Looks on his way. So
Deluxe is out. There is Dartbolt. It's a matter of 3 seconds. 2.9, 2.8, 2.7.
Flash of the light so he knows he's there. Ross is going to come out in P4. Switchback might get him on the run down to through the tunnel.
Nevertheless, it's a cracking recovery drive from Ross.
A bit longer there, but saving all that fuel.
Yeah, Dartbolt 2.6 seconds on 2 set softer tyres than Deluxe. So if Deluxe is going to win this race, he's going to have to earn it. I think that's probably the fairest thing I've said all evening.
So we're looking at about 33 with 5 more laps.
Yeah,
probably
about 5.
6. Probably 5, I think, because it's just over 1.5 minutes, aren't you see?
Yeah, 5 laps, I would say.
Maybe under 2 seconds. Dartbolt is flying.
We'll keep a very close eye, but Ross and Switchback are together. Iceman just a few seconds back. Nexus Cat some way back from there on, really. And Lennon's dropped all the way down to P8 from putting far too much fuel in his car, I think. Switchback glances against the wall coming through the first few corners. 6 minutes 45 seconds left of the race. Switchback coming down towards the hairpin. Is he going to take a look at Ross? No, he just tucks in behind. Ross gets a much better run through. Now, neither of these cars are particularly brilliant on straight line speed, so they'll probably cancel each other out on that front. Dartbolt down to 0.6 of a second.
Again, good battle going on between Coandy and Robo as well. A bit further back. But I think we're about to see a change for the lead. Any time now. Handles those curves very well. Dartbolt got a good run.
I mean, it's been an incredible drive from Delac thus far. But unfortunately, I think strategy is what's going to lose him the race here. As Dartbolt goes to the inside on the approach to turn 1 at the start of lap 22. And he's through.
Coming.
Yep. I mean, it's been a stunning drive from Dartbolt to go from the back of the grid.
Cornelius is 7.8 seconds back, so he's chipping away as well.
Yeah, just to rub salt.
His teammate though, probably not.
Just to rub salt into the wounds as well. Dartbolt just hit a purple first sector. He's already got a 1.2, 1.3 lead in just one sector. So Switchback has picked himself up a 1 second penalty. And Ross has dropped back slightly, so there may have been a little bit of contact between those two. But Ross is within the slipstream range.
Very wide in the tunnel. The wall, I think that. Using menace and the speed to just keep himself in touch. So the corners, he's just losing out massively in the corners now. Quickly, Dartbolt pulls away in the corners. He's now 1.7 seconds.
Yeah, he's just going to have too much for those sort of sections of the track. I think there is a little battle forming for P7. Next is Katz, Lennon, and onto the podium. All pretty close.
Closing in on Lennon, and Katz has just gone into the wall. That's lost him some time.
When they've got a big gap to Andy, who's down in P10. Robbo's a few seconds behind. And then after Zombie, the two Mercedes guys not having the best time. But the luck is, I mean, he's staying within what, 1.5 seconds, something around that sort of area. But I think once he's going to be out of slipstream range, I think, by the end of this lap.
Slipstream already, but the Nissan's speed will probably bring him back in down the straight. As they get to the right hander in the chicane at the end of the lap, we'll see that gap probably up over 2 seconds in no time. 1.1 seconds there. Just see how much quicker that Nissan is in the straight line.
Right, they're going to be entering into the final 2 laps.
Just stay close. If you can make a mistake or force a mistake from the race leader, this isn't necessarily over.
Yeah, Delac didn't have the best run through the death chicane there, unfortunately for him.
Cornelius, I think, is too far back to worry his teammate.
Yeah, I can't see him being a threat really. Switch back in P4. Oh,
P5. Oh, what's happened there? The place to Ross. A very odd place to be going through. He hit the wall at the final corner.
no, it looked like he just lifted off, going across the line. And Ross has now pulled 5 seconds. I'm very confused.
Oh, Katz up the inside of Lennon. Lennon spins round.
Goes.
So he goes onto the podium into his customary 8th place.
What was it? Was it contact with Lennon and Katz and then onto the podium sort of helped him on his way?
Katz came down the inside of Lennon into the first corner, put them both into the wall, and I think Lennon just span around as he was at the contact before onto the podium got there. I don't think the podium affected the spin per se.
No, I only caught it at the last second and just saw onto the podium go, like, creep past Lennon, so I don't know if he kind of helped him on his way. But nevertheless, Lennon's going to be a very unhappy boy.
I can't believe he's only a second. This isn't over yet. I don't know if Bob's had a moment somewhere, but he's not. Deluxe had a poor run again through the chicane at the end of the lap.
Yeah, he's closing down though. Well, this will be the final lap of the race, and it's 1.2 seconds. So if Deluxe can have the first sector of his life and Dartbolt have a moment with the slipstream and the straight line speed of the Nissan, you just don't quite know, do you? But Dartbolt grazed the wall, but the gap's 1.8. I think it's going to be a bit too much. Final lap of the race. Switchback is back there with Nexus Iceman onto the podium, past Nexus Cats into P7, grazes the wall slightly. Nexus Cats looking at him.
Yeah, I think Deluxe had a poor exit from there. Pit is now over 2 seconds.
2 seconds, no, but nevertheless, a stunning effort is making sure Dartbolt doesn't bottle it into the death chicane. That would be drama at its finest. But we'll stay with these guys as they run through, I think. Dartbolt comes through, nice and conservative through there. Does it well.
Attacks the curbs. When you do it too much, it's actually slowed him down.
Yeah, but Dartbolt's come around the final corner. The first time this season in either division that one driver has won both races of an even time. But let's just talk about Deluxe for a second. What an incredible debut Group 3 race for him. So, huge congratulations to him, and his teammate Cornelius rounds off the podium as well. So, cracking drive from those guys. Ross comes home in P4, good recovery drive. FTRL Switchback comes home in P5. So, a good points haul for him tonight whilst they use their wild card. And then you've got Nexus Iceman coming home in P6 onto the podium, who's probably just going to keep.
Some Cats pit one person at the line already tonight.
Yeah, he's not going to manage to do that. Good job from onto the podium, the Nexus Cats there. And then Lennon comes home in P9 after his earlier wobble. I'm sure we'll be taking a look at that. Co-Andy coming home in P10. And then Zombie going to be the last one to complete the race down in P11. Robbo's coming in P12, and then the Mercs of Max and Goykarp just missed out on the points there, unfortunately for them. But as Max comes home to cross the line, that is going to end this week's GT2 races in FTRL. So there we go. Driver of the day, I think it probably has to be Dartbolt. But also going to give a very, very special mention to Deluxe. Didn't have the best of debuts in the Group 4 race, but in the Group 3 he's put together a very, very worthy strategy there. And lost by a matter of a couple of seconds over a 40-minute race. So congratulations to him. But yeah, how was your first commentary on the FTRL GT2, Lee?
Yeah, it was good. Some good battles in there. Some standout performances. A lot of action, which I think you expect with a new league and contrasting levels of ability, or sort of just expertise with the game more than anything. I think. The boys have done themselves proud again there. Some great racing, some great action. Very good performance from Dartbolt. But I think Deluxe has proved himself to be somebody to watch out for the rest of the season.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, well, I thank you very, very much for your time there, Lee. If you can just save the replay for us as well, just in case, because obviously I've got no one for Pagani to refer to if I need any help with anything. That would be much appreciated. But yes, for those that watch, thank you very much for giving up a hour and a half of your time this evening to listen to us. And hopefully you enjoyed the races. In a bit dry in spells, but overall pretty entertaining. And then all I can do to end the stream is just to urge you to come and watch tomorrow night for the GT1 race, should I say, where we will be attacking the Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit in the Group 4 cars, followed by the very, very famous Le Mans circuit for the Group 3 race, which is, for people like me, going to be an absolute disaster. But for people like you, Lee, I think you quite like Le Mans, didn't you?
Yeah, I don't dislike Le Mans.
Well, I'm pleased you do. But yes, nevertheless, I can only urge you to come watch us all tomorrow night. But thank you all very, very much for your time. Well done to the podium sitters tonight. Well done to all the drivers, and thank you all very much for watching. And we will see you same time, same place next week. And yeah, thank you all very much, and good night.